So welcome to the show. Leon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, bruv. How you doing, Mr.
I'm
Michael?
not too bad. So this is episode number 2 of the Year Buddy Experience podcast. And today we have the lovely Nav in the building.
Hello.
How are you doing? How was your journey here?
Can you do me a favour and pull the mic up, please?
Yes.
Talk.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it's even better.
Good.
Needs to be like this far away from your mouth.
Okay. All good.
Yeah, I'm
All
good.
right.
Go on.
All right. Yeah. My journey here.
There was like some bullying there. That was terrible.
No, it's not some bullying.
My gosh.
For those of you that don't know, I already know Nav, so this is a kind of, I'm not bullying her. This is how I always speak to her.
Just him being him.
It's just me being me.
Yeah.
But yeah, answer the question.
Which is fair enough. For me, it was good just to see that experience. This is my first time meeting you, and it's been a pleasure so far. And the podcast itself is about inspirational and motivational people, and your story is very candid for that, which is quite cool. And I'm looking forward to learning more about it and seeing where you are now and where you've been. Okay. So I'd probably say introduce yourself to the audience would be the best start.
Okay. So I'm Nav, and I am a twin.
Nice.
Asian, female, police officer, detective, cancer survivor. I have a partner who's a female, so gay if you want to label me. And I don't know, that's enough for now, I think.
No, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a lovely summary, and that's
There's a lot of old shits in there, man. Do you really want to talk about that?
I heard a few things then. I was kind of going, wow, the police were in Wembley. Woo, woo. There could be problems around here. But yeah, no, that's good. I'm looking forward to hearing. So how did you start? So in terms of how did you start with the police force? How did that happen?
It's something I wanted to do ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
And I didn't do it initially because being from like an Asian background, you have to go to university, you have to be either a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, something like that. So I did a law degree. I made my parents happy.
Oh, nice.
Got an office job in a council for a little while, and yeah, it was easy. But when I was in my 30s or late 20s, I thought if I don't try and do what I want to do, then I'm never going to do it. So I changed careers.
That makes sense. Because I've always wanted to join the police myself. It's either the police or the army. And it was just trying to work out which one to go for. But in terms of the camaraderie and the training and the support, it's all seemed like a really good field to go in.
Yeah.
Would you say it's something that's worth looking into, or?
Definitely. For me, it's like another extension of a family. It's like a separate family to my own family that I have. So if you haven't looked into it, definitely look into it.
Well, let me throw a curveball in there.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So my dad was a policeman. He's retired. And he finished his career at Windsor Castle working in royalty protection.
Yeah.
So he was there, pretty much he worked in royalty protection for my whole life that I can remember, but he was a policeman before that. But he said to me, if there's one bit of advice he could ever give me, it would be to steer clear and do not join the police force. Do not follow in my footsteps. When I questioned him on it, he says, it doesn't matter, just don't do it.
He didn't tell you why?
Didn't tell me why.
Yeah.
Some of the stories that he gives me are amazing.
Mm.
Of some of the stuff that he's got up to, car chases, cases and whatever that he can tell me. But as a general rule of thumb, he's always said to me, steer clear of it. So to you, what are the good things about the police force that you love on a daily basis? Like,
so for me, well, it sounds really corny, but I joined to make a difference, I think.
That's so corny.
It is corny, isn't it?
I was like, wow.
Yeah, but like, I've never had a good impression of the police.
Same.
My family have never had a good impression of the police. They've thought it's not a respectable job to go into. My brother being stopped and searched a number of times, he didn't think very well of me wanting to join the police. But if people like me don't join, then how can we make a difference? It's just going to be that same police force that we don't like.
No, agreed. I agree with you.
I joined when I did. Yeah, so when I joined, what I enjoy about the job is making a difference, and I like having really good jobs that I like to get my teeth into. I like having jobs where I like doing a lot of things that are very victim focused rather than suspect or a job or a new role. I never think either looking at me thinking what color my skin is.
and what about the whole sexual orientation kind of vibe? The people, are they aware of your background, your setup?
Yeah, so people are aware, but it's not obvious when you walk into a room like the colour of my skin. So I never think about it that way in doing the job. So I think quite often people might talk to me like I'm one of the lads, but I don't want to be one of the lads. I'm still a female at the end of the day.
Fair enough, isn't it? Yeah, it's fair enough.
So no, that's never been an issue for me as well.
That's quite cool. So what did your parents think of joining the police force? Because as you said at the start, you've got a lawyer qualification, you could have gone down a variety of different roles, but now you're joining the police force, you're working in a very competitive field. What did your parents say? Were they supportive or?
No, initially they're very disappointed.
Okay.
Why would you join a job which is less money than what you're doing now? How you're going to be working evenings? It's a dangerous job. It wasn't a job for a girl for a start. It's not a respectable job in their eyes. It wasn't at the time. And also, main thing was like, if I was doing shift work, how am I going to get married and raise a family? I was like, you don't need to worry about the getting married thing because that might not ever happen anyways. And I can, but since I've joined the job, they're super happy and like they're very supportive now since I've joined the job. But initially, they weren't happy at all. Sometimes, they just need to realise that money isn't everything. And also, I enjoy doing what I do, whereas it was so, doing an office job for me was super boring.
What is it that your sister does?
She works in HR. She has an office job.
So she's HR. And are they proud of her?
Yeah, they're proud of her because she earns the bucks out of all of us. So they're proud of her because she has a nice car and, we all,
you got a nice car?
Yeah, I've got a nice car. I just bought it recently.
Yeah. Right, calm down, guys. Who did you buy the car off?
Oh, you didn't buy the car off me. If anyone wants to buy a car, just send an email, please.
But no, that's interesting. So in regards of where you are now, so how long have you been with the police force?
Almost 7 years.
7 years, okay, it's a long time.
7 years, and I volunteered for about 2 years before I joined because I was like, it's big change, so I want to make sure it's something I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in that 7 year period, when was you diagnosed with cancer?
So I was diagnosed in February of last year, so 2019.
And what type of cancer, if you don't mind me asking?
No, that's fine. Bowel cancer.
Okay.
So initially, I actually went for a colonoscopy, and then I only took someone because I was like, how am I going to get back? Because I'm going to be too drowsy, and I didn't think I had anything seriously wrong with me. So it was when I had the colonoscopy, the tumor was about 8 centimeters big, so they could tell by looking at it what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually the 26th of January last year when they found it, but I wasn't diagnosed properly until February of last year.
Bowel cancer. And then what was the road thereafter? How did that go?
Well, initially I got told I was dying. So it was like, the initial, and I found out on a Friday. So I had the whole...
Back up a minute. You got told you were dying.
Yes, I got told.
So how was that? You're dying? Or you've got X amount of weeks to live, months?
No, I got told that if the treatment doesn't... what I took out of the conversation was I'm dying.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got told, it's actually really bad how I found out because the nurses thought the consultant had already told me. So they gave me my letter that says my report basically, and I opened up the report and I was sat next to Sonali, my partner, and I went through and it said polyps and then it said tumour and then it said patient told of probable cancer diagnosis. So I gave back the envelope and I was like, nope, haven't been told this. And Sonali was like, oh, what does it say? And it's something about polyps because I thought maybe it's not mine.
Okay.
And then, it was mine. So, and then the consultant said, before any of the tests were done, just by looking at it from his experience, he said it looks really aggressive. My lymph nodes were swollen. All around the area was swollen. That I need to have treatment straight away. I'll probably start chemotherapy or radiotherapy in the next week or two because it's that aggressive. And none of that was true. So that was on the Friday. So I had the whole weekend thinking, let me plan my funeral.
It was a panic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a panic.
And when I spoke to a nurse on the Monday, she was like, he would know that it's cancer by looking at it, but nothing has been sent through for lab testing yet, so we can't tell you how far it's gone. And it turns out that it was stage 2. I didn't need chemotherapy or radiotherapy, and they removed the tumour. and they've checked. I had my 6-month checkup, and that was all fine. And I'll have my year 1 in the next month or 2.
Brilliant. How does is it in your family at all? Is anybody else is it hereditary or?
So the cancer I had
Yeah.
wasn't hereditary, which is surprising. My granddad passed away from bowel cancer, but he was in his 80s. And his daughter, so my auntie, passed away in her 70s from bowel cancer. But what I had wasn't hereditary.
We've got in my partner's family, there's a long line of heart disease. So I was just thinking, what's the fallout from you being diagnosed with cancer? Like, how does that affect your sister? Does everybody have to go in for testing, or what's happened from there?
Because it was hereditary, they didn't need to. But Pretty, my sister,
Mm-hmm.
she went because she's my twin. So they were like, we'll send her for screening. So she's had been checked out and she's all fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but with my parents, they didn't need to get checked.
Mm-hmm.
My brother has had skin cancer in the past, so he's had checkups anyways.
Okay. And how has
yeah.
it affected the work-life balance and everything else as such? How long have you recently just gone back to work?
I
Or
went back today.
you went back today?
Yeah.
And then
How was that?
podcasting in the evening? Okay, no.
It was pretty chilled. There was a lot of catching up with people, making sure my laptop works.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in your day to day, is there a struggle that you have now because of going through that?
I try and have a bit of structure in my day. It's so easy to, I think, if I sit at home and watch daytime TV and be like, I'm just recovering. So when I was able to, I walked. I didn't think I would be able to walk for like months because it was such a struggle in the first few weeks just to walk like half a mile or something. So when I have been able to go for walks, then started back in the gym after about 3 months, and started playing football, but not competitively, about 6 months later. But my day-to-day, no, because I'll arrange to do things, meet with people for a coffee, meet up with lunch, have a brunch club. So, yeah, so I keep myself busy because I'm conscious of the fact that I don't want to be stuck in a rut and I don't want to feel sorry for myself. I'm happy to be alive. After the initial
Shock,
yeah,
scare.
and thinking that I was going to die, you've just got to live every day and be happy. So, yeah, so it's...
Do you think that's just the way that you've always lived your life, or is that a mindset that you've had to really narrow your mind into to be determined to get back on your feet and get healthy again?
I think I've always been quite healthy, so that's another reason why it was a shock. I've always been active. I always eat the foods that they say to reduce the chances of getting bowel cancer or just generally be healthy. And so it was a bit of a kick in the teeth. So I'll be like, eat whatever you like, people. You're still going to get ill. That's what I thought. But now, and then initially I was eating whatever I liked when I was getting better, trying to put on weight. But now I've gone back to that same mindset where actually I will look after myself. That's what helped me with my recovery. The fact that I looked after myself. That's how I see it. The fact that I, looked after my body, worked out and made a conscious effort of what I put in my body. I think that's helped a lot, as well as having that motivation to go out and go for a walk even when you don't feel like it, go to the gym even when you don't feel like it, just to build up your strength.
I did see, I saw on your social media, I saw you guys workout images. And do you support Tottenham?
Yeah.
Oh
No.
heaven forbid. I saw it on one of the images, this little badge on the shorts, and I was like, oh my God, that's just terrible. Arsenal fan.
I figured. I was either Arsenal or Chelsea.
Well, but we're doing better than you guys, so it's all right.
Yeah, I was going to say that she's really, really into her football, but she can't be that into her football if you support Spurs. It's
What do you mean you're doing better than us?
We are doing better than you. Of course we are. We've got forwards that are actually able to play, so we can score goals.
I think we're a little ahead of you in the league.
Are you?
I don't think you
I've
are.
not even looked at the table.
Oh yeah, I think we have to check.
I've just had a quick look. We're better than you. So.
But I'm sure we're going to finish higher than you guys anyway.
I'm pretty sure about that too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Was you happy with the appointment of Mourinho? I know we're going off topic here, but...
No, I was going to say, when I first met Nav, you played in football team, didn't you, right?
Yeah, I played for
BAA.
BA, British Airways.
Yeah.
Played in the Greater London League and the Surrey League.
Oh, cool. What position did you play?
Anywhere in midfield. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. So I'll play anywhere apart from goal, but mainly midfield. Started off on the wing, and then I think as I got older, I got put in central midfield.
Are you planning to get back into that, or...?
Not competitively, because once I joined the police, it work whatever
Takes up
hours.
time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes up a lot of time. So then I have to juggle up the fact that as well, being in a relationship, my other half doesn't play football and didn't want to watch me play football every Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So
That's fair enough. That's
gave
fair
it up.
enough. What happened to the support, isn't it? You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to
Yeah.
be there,
She
supporting.
didn't want to be called a wag.
Okay, nice.
She doesn't like football.
She likes football when she's betting,
Right. Okay.
but she doesn't really like watching football too much. No,
Live or on the telly, either.
no, she was just. I mean, it's Sunday league stuff, so
Oh well.
the quality is.
That's what you
Maybe
play,
not.
isn't it?
Man, listen. My Sunday,
that was yours.
my Sunday league is it's a different kind of quality.
What quality is that? You're telling me downstairs. Some
No,
stories.
don't worry about that. That wasn't being recorded, so I can say what I want off air, can't I?
Hilarious. So what profession, if you could choose a different profession, what would you attempt, or what would you have chosen, rather than being the police force or being a lawyer? What would you have chosen if you had your own choice?
I would choose the police. I know you're saying
It's cheesy again, isn't it?
I'll tell you why.
Go
Because
on.
it's something that I wanted to do as a kid, and that's what I went back to. The only other thing is, same as you, I told my careers advisor when I was a teenager that I wanted to join the army, and he was like, "Okay, have you thought about something else? Because it's not going to be for you."
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because I'm a woman, maybe because I'm Asian, I don't know. So after that, and then I was like, oh, and he didn't give me any options about how I could join the army. I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have been for me anyways. And so I didn't look at it. The only other thing I have applied for and really wanted was a firefighter.
Okay.
And I thought I was quite fit, so I thought it wouldn't be a problem. And there was one part of so I passed everything apart from there's one, it was like a relay thing where you're carrying a lot of equipment, heavy equipment. And I finished it, but I finished it way over the time. So I didn't pass the actual physical day. And I actually left the training centre after I finished crying, and that was the only other job I really wanted.
When did you do that? Before the police?
Before the police,
Way
yeah.
before the police.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a few years before. Yeah, good few years before I joined the police.
Okay. So were you a tomboy growing up or anything? Because it seems like
Yeah,
you wanted
very
to be in all
much
the
a tomboy.
services, yeah?
Yeah.
Polar opposite of your sister, or
No, she's very much a tomboy as well. Very
she
similar.
plays football as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is she still playing football?
Neither of us play competitive anymore.
No.
We're 39, so
Yeah,
it's
well,
like
I'm 38, man. Come on.
Well, you guys are old around here, man.
Like wine, mate. You know what they say.
Just saying, man. Just saying. But no, you guys look good for your age. I'm just saying. I'm sitting here next to two lovely people. You guys
Face for
look
radio,
fantastic.
right? Yeah.
I know, right?
Huh?
If we had the camera in today, what would happen? But no, that's cool. That's interesting. But it seems like there's a common theme there, because you've got the fire brigade, the police force, and the army, which is all kind of giving back and supporting the community and doing good. So that's quite nice. And you've now found your way into the police force. Well, you've been there for 7 years. What's the goal? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
in the next 5 years, I'd like to be back at work, and I'd like to go onto the murder team.
Okay. Thank you for actually sharing that with us.
Talking about the news and current affairs and recent stuff, have you got any views? Because I'm thinking about from a mental health perspective, the stuff that's been happening or happened to Caroline Flack in the last couple of weeks or so. And as we were touching on the media side of things, how things are portrayed on social media, mainstream media, red tops especially, and the way that they treat people. What your opinion is on all of that sort of stuff and the fact of mental health and where we are with it these days.
I think it's difficult for people who may be suffering from mental health to actually get to that stage where they actually go out and get help. So talking to me is so important. Not being embarrassed about having to talk to people is so important. I had counselling recently because I went through a bad time, and I felt like I was at a stage where I was really, really down. And just talking to a counsellor for a few sessions really helped. And so obviously I've gone through everything that I've gone through in that last year, where I thought, actually, I might die. Actually, no, things are a lot better than I thought I was. And then I lost my cousin in December to mental health. And then I've almost was going to lose my best mate, I felt like, to mental health as well. And at that stage, I thought, I've just lost my cousin. I'm not going to lose my best mate as well. And then I actually lost a good friend of mine to cancer. And this all happened over a 6-week period. And I just felt, every single day, I felt so sad. And I couldn't snap myself out of it. And it lasted weeks. But having, in my job, I have massive support network. So I was able to get the support I needed quickly. So I've had some counselling, and I felt like it was good for me. I've had counselling in the past in my 20s, a long time ago, and I thought, this isn't for me. But this time round it worked, and it really worked.
It always, to me, seems to be, I've had counselling as such from some personal stuff, but that was a direction that I was going in. I had to speak to somebody in order to get to the next level.
Yeah.
I've never sought counselling myself because of an issue that I've directly got. I've always looked at it myself as a very American thing.
Yeah.
So you always see it in the TV programs.
Yeah.
They're always
Sofa chair, someone lying back,
yeah,
guy there writing notes.
Marriage
it's
counselling.
It's not that glamorous.
It's not like that.
They seem to have counselling for everything.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to eat chocolate anymore, you go and see a chocolate counsellor. But in your opinion, it's a good thing. And
this time round it really worked for me, and it was just a bit of after about 3 sessions, I just kind of had a light bulb moment, and I felt okay. I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But for about 6 weeks, I was really down. I was losing a lot of weight, and I just couldn't snap myself out of the sadness. And I don't know, sadness I call it. You can call it depression, or it's just for me it was just it was sad every single day. And I think that so in mental health, I've been ill for a year, and I can go in, have an operation. They don't wait for me to get to a stage where I'm dying before they have the operation. But it seems like with mental health, and I know services are strapped, they wait until you're at a really crucial point before you have immediate help and support. So, I mean, you're still sick, whether you're physically sick or mentally sick. Having that support around you helps. But, one day that person might not have somebody around them that's going to help them, or they might not have that anyways. So with me being physically sick, I can get better. I can take medication. I can have an operation. But, you don't have that urgent care. You don't seem to have that urgent care for mental health unless you have money.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. I agree with you on that. But it's one of those topics that is slowly now being acknowledged, and people are actually being a bit more understanding of, you can sit down with someone and say, I've got mental health issues, and they don't go, well, okay, maybe I'll just leave the room and leave you on your own. Everyone's kind of like, okay, cool, tell me what's wrong. Let's see if I can be there. And it's quite poignant with Mrs. Flack, or Miss Flack, who's just passed away, because I'm sure she needed more support than the support she got. I saw online the amount of boosts that she used to get on social media. I've watched Love Island a few times, and a lot of, it happens.
Really?
It reminds me of university. Yeah, it reminds me of uni days. So I watch it because you can switch off and you can, you just relax.
I've never watched it.
You've never watched Love Island?
I watched it the World Cup year. I watched it.
Okay.
Because we would watch a football match, and my missus would watch the football with me, and then it would just roll over into Love Island. So that's why I watched it. I no longer watch it.
I kind of still watch it. For me, it allows me to switch off. So I work primarily as a personal trainer. That's my full-time job. And on the weekends, I do hospital radio. So I'm doing loads of different things, and I'm always busy. So it allows me to just go home, put the TV on, listening to some silly people say silly things, just allow me to just relax. I don't have to think. I just chill and watch. But I can see from your facial expression, it's probably not something I should be saying.
Man. I'm smiling.
I should probably not say that out loud, but it reminds me of uni. So it just reminds me of the banter, the jokes, the camaraderie, the silly conversations that guys have. It takes me back to uni days. So for me, it's a winner on that front. But in terms of a show for mental health reasons, it's probably something that should get shut down.
Yeah, well, with Jeremy Kyle, there was like one death in that.
Closed down, but I think they wanted to close him down for a while.
Yeah, they were waiting for an excuse.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah.
I think they were. Because remember, he's pushing forward some of the lowest people of society, and then he's playing upon the issues that they have. So you're then watching people who you can clearly see they need help. They shouldn't be put on primetime breakfast morning show talking about, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me, I'm going to do this. That shouldn't be the case,
Yeah.
you know? And he's making loads of money off that, where he was.
Yeah.
And people were making themselves feel quite happy to look at this person and point the finger. So, yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, so
Go on.
I was going to say, so with it's a lot in media and social media. Like, okay, people need to talk. It's okay to have mental health illnesses. It is an illness, but this happens for some time and then it dies down. And whether that message goes across to the agencies that should be supporting people is different. Whether we are just able, it's good because we're able to talk about it. But again, I find in some cultures we still don't talk about it. In my culture, we don't talk about it at all. So I didn't know my cousin was suffering from mental health until he died.
It's the same in the West Indian culture. I can tell my grandmother that she'll probably tell me, like, you're daft, or what's wrong with you? Go outside, train or something. You can't sit down and bring those things up. It's just it's a tough situation.
Not necessarily a culture, but it might be generational. And we're coming out of the back end of that now, where everybody and everything is focused on specific topics. Like all of the focus. So Caroline Flatt passed away. It seems like everybody's focused on that and talking about it and the ramifications of it. But again, it's we look at a specific subject and hope that things change. But then obviously, like football, and there's always been the issue with racism in football.
Always.
And nothing ever seems to change with that.
No, and I don't remember if you remember a game you went to watch, cup final.
Yes.
That still happened. So we had a cup final against Cobham long time ago, many years ago. And we were winning, and my team are pretty multicultural. Lots of Asian players, black players, white players, older players, younger players, got a mix of everything. And we were playing a team, or Cobham, and it's a cup final. We were winning, and we'd had in the past where they've been racist towards. I hadn't heard it, but another one of our players had heard. But it was one word against another, and they called me a Paki, but I didn't hear it. So it was one person's word against the other. Nothing happened with that. So when we played them in the cup, they didn't like the fact they were losing. So it wasn't just their players; it was their supporters, and it was their mums and dads that were saying.
And it was horrible because I had my little brother and sister with me as well.
Yeah, and my mum and dad.
My other sister was playing.
And my mum and dad never went to games. This was a cup final, and they were thinking, what's going on? Why are my daughters playing? What's this? Yeah.
So and you guys didn't go over and just say,
it kicked off a little. It kicked off
towards the end. It did, yeah.
But then you couldn't do too much because obviously they had to file an official report.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a case of like if I heard it, I'm not saying two rights. What's the
two wrongs make a right?
Two wrongs that make a right.
Yeah.
If I was there independently and I didn't know anybody that was playing, I would have kicked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people often say, why doesn't anybody in the crowd tap that guy in the shoulder?
Yeah, that's what should happen. As soon as you guys said that, you go over, say, hey, buddy.
Yeah. But as I knew people that were involved in the game, and I knew that there was a process that you had to go through, seemingly however terrible that process is, we're years down the line and it seems to be getting worse. And it's at all levels, and it's in every league, and it's all over the world. Yeah,
and it's still happening, and we're in that same situation that we were. I don't know. This was around the time of the John Terry Ferdinand incident, so it was that same season, and we've still got the same things happening. And I don't know, wearing a T-shirt that says "Kick It Out" isn't going to.
Oh, no, it's not going to change. Yeah. I can't see. I can actually see it getting worse. To be honest, it just seems like before it was under the level. Now it just seems like it's fully out there. We can watch what England play Bulgaria. Half of the fans are now shouting racist abuse, and it seems like we then have an uproar from the English media saying this is unacceptable. But then the next weekend we have maybe Chelsea play. Give me a team, Liverpool, Chelsea, Liverpool, and then you've got racism in the crowd, and it's kind of like, it's just one guy.
Yeah.
Rather than let's tap that guy. Membership's gone. He's banned from watching any game ever again. And we make an example, and it just seems like we're not making those examples, we're not making those adjustments. But for me, it's not just the football aspect, it's across every platform. We've got the same with employment, it's the same with schooling system. There is that undercurrent of racism, which I know it's a bit strong to say that, but
I'm conscious of time. We've only got a couple of minutes left, but it's I do feel it. I feel it more than I ever have. Being mixed race myself, it's
Oh, you're mixed race. I didn't know that, man.
people can't see me, man. It's definitely. I mean, being 38 years old, I've gone. There's peaks and troughs of the way you get treated, but now, 2020, I think I can't say it's ever been as bad as this, because I see it in all different walks of life and all different aspects.
Yeah, and people. So if I go to a Spurs game, I will hear my own fans saying stuff to our own players and the opposition players. People just laugh about it. They just think it's banter. I hate that word, by the way.
Yeah, no, same. That's yeah.
Hashtag bants.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it's important. But no, I think we've got to wrap it up now.
I think we have to wrap it up.
It's been an interesting episode 2 where we got to learn loads about yourself, and it's been thank you so much for sharing that information. It's been useful, and I hope we didn't grill you too much, or I hope he didn't grill you too much on the Grenville Tower stuff. But thank you for coming, and as always,
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
On to the next one. Up the Arsenal,
buddy.